Tonight, justice for Janiyah. A Manatee County mother heads to prison for her daughter's murder. Good evening, everyone. I'm Josh Benson.
And I'm Stacy Scheibel. Thank you for joining us. It was a story that made national headlines back in 2015. The 11-year-old girl was found dead and stuffed in a freezer. Now her mother will spend 65 years behind bars. And News Channel 8's John Rogers is live outside the Manatee County Courthouse tonight. John, what did her mother have to say in court today?
Well, it's definitely an awful story. Who could forget this, right? Well, Keyshawn Thomas spoke briefly to the judge today in court in Manatee County, and she said she accepted this plea deal for the sake of her other children. Prosecutors say 11-year-old Janiyah Thomas had a rough life and a gruesome death. And now her mother, Keyshawn Thomas, will face justice for the crime. Investigators said Janiyah suffered from a serious health condition and was mistreated by her mother. She was last seen in 2014, and 1 year later, she was found dead, stuffed in a box, and locked in a freezer. Investigators said she was emaciated with broken bones and weighed only 44 pounds.
How do you plea? No contest.
Today, Keyshawn Thomas pleaded no contest to charges including second-degree murder and aggravated child abuse. She was sentenced to 65 years in prison.
I'm doing this, Your Honor, because I feel this is in my best interest and that I don't want to put my kids through a trial.
Prosecutors are satisfied.
I think this was certainly the most horrific child death I ever was involved in.
They say this amounts to a life sentence.
Prevent her from having access to children for the remainder of her life.
Prosecutors say the medical examiner could not definitively determine a cause of death.
It was obvious in his eyes that it was as a result of homicidal violence, including the chronic malnutrition.
A friend of the Thomas family has mixed feelings.
We look at it as justice being served, but at the end of the day, it's still sad on both ends. So, but I just hope she gets the help in prison. I hope that she can get herself together, and I pray for her. I really do.
Prosecutors say Keyshawn Thomas's other children witnessed some of Janiyah's abuse and were even abused themselves. So by taking this plea deal, they'll be spared from having to be involved in a lengthy trial.
Convicted killer Ronnie O'Neill sentenced to 3 life sentences today without the possibility of parole for killing his girlfriend, his disabled daughter, and the attempted murder of his son.
O'Neill grabbed the attention of the nation with his antics in court during his murder trial as he insisted on acting as his own attorney. Well, today O'Neill was shut down by the judge as he raised his voice in court. 8 on your side's Jeff Patterson joins us now live at the courthouse in Tampa. Jeff.
Good evening. Judge Michelle Cisco told Ronnie O'Neill today the facts of this case are the worst she's ever seen from her years on the bench. And then Ronnie O'Neill had a chance to address the court today, and he was not apologetic.
Ronnie O'Neill sat in court today in a red jail uniform and listened to the family members of his victims tell the court how he's impacted their lives.
What he done, a man would do, a coward would do.
Kenyatta Barron's mother told the court she was not pleased with the jury's decision.
I'm not pleased with what the verdict was, and I wish you could overturn it and give him what he's rightly due.
O'Neill sat there, smiling and smirking, as Kenyatta Barron's sister spoke to him.
I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for your circumstances.
Then O'Neill had one more chance to speak.
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
But this time, as he started to raise his voice, Judge Michelle Cisco abruptly cut him off and demanded he lower his tone.
I will have you removed from this courtroom.
Then the judge addressed O'Neill to pronounce sentence.
This is the worst case I have ever seen as far as the facts go.
Telling O'Neill she had to fight to hold back tears during the trial.
For the rest of my life, I'll be haunted by what I saw as far as the evidence.
She then sentenced O'Neill to 3 life terms plus 60 years in prison for his crimes.
O'Neill's attorneys moved before the sentencing hearing for a new trial. That motion was denied. O'Neill will now have 30 days to appeal the sentence. In Tampa, Jeff Patterson, 8 on your side.
Right now, Breaking news on News Channel 8.
I would say, Jesse, I love you with all my life, and hopefully we can save your best friends, which are the mamas of this town.
Nearly 3 years after a tragic crash on Bayshore Boulevard killed a mother and her young daughter, the teenager behind the wheel has learned his fate. Cameron Herron was sentenced to 24 years in prison. Good evening, I'm Keith Kate.
I'm Jennifer Lee. Thank you for joining us. The emotional day of testimony lasted well into the evening before the judge made his decision. 8 on your side's Justin Shecker was in the Tampa courthouse. He joins us now live with reaction from the family of Jessica and Lilia Robinot. Justin.
Jen and Keith, good evening. The victims' family members spoke about how it happens on Bayshore Boulevard has and will continue to haunt them. They told the judge they wanted the maximum sentence of 30 years. Let's show you that moment when Cameron Herron learned his punishment.
Sentenced him to 9 years in Florida State Prison. On count 2, same charge, court will adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to 15 years Florida State Prison, and that'll run consecutive to count 1.
David Robinot and his family waited nearly 3 years for justice after he lost his wife and little girl in the May 2018 tragedy on Tampa's Bayshore Boulevard.
When it first happened, you could have told me 80 years and I still would have said it's not enough. We're compassionate people, you know. We're sympathetic and empathetic. Believe it or not, we do feel something for the defendant.
After hours of emotional testimony, the judge sentenced 21-year-old Cameron Herron to 24 years in prison.
Although this won't bring my wife back, I hope that this sentence will inspire younger folks to behave in a manner that is appropriate amongst our streets.
Herron pleaded guilty in late December to vehicular homicide and unlawful racing. Prosecutors say he topped 100 miles per hour in his Ford Mustang before striking 24-year-old Jessica Robinot and 21-month-old Lilia Robinot. Herron didn't speak in court. His defense attorney read an apology.
I am so sorry for what I did and what I caused.
Attorney John Fitzgibbons argued Herron should receive the same 6-year prison sentence as John Barano, the then 17-year-old driver who witnesses say was racing Herron before the deadly crash. But Judge Christopher Nash disagreed.
It's just impossible to have greater harm than the harm that occurred in this case, which was the loss of a mother, loss of a baby, and really the loss of a family as it existed.
After sentencing, the family shared a message of wanting to honor Jessica and Lilia by making the city of Tampa safer.
We ask that you partner with us to finally put an end to the street racing culture. Your city is only as safe as your streets.
And State Attorney Andrew Warren says he hopes this sentence provides some comfort and closure to Jessica and Lilia's families. The judge did say Cameron Herron has 30 days to appeal his 24-year prison sentence. We're live tonight in downtown Tampa. I'm Justin Shecker, 8 on your side.
Just after midnight this morning, our 911 communications center received a call from a young man who stated he had just killed his parents. He stated that deputies could find his parents at the house and that he had walked just over a mile away to a church and he would await for deputies to arrive to take him into custody. Deputies responded immediately to both locations, the church and then to a home on out here in the Middleburg area. When deputies arrived to the church, they took 14-year-old Trevor Lee into custody. When almost simultaneously deputies arrived to the address in question, they found 2 deceased individuals inside, David Lee, 44 years of age, and Brandy Smith, 45 years of age. Both of the deceased appeared to have gunshot wounds. Based upon our preliminary investigation, and we're still very early in this investigation, it appears that there was some sort of domestic argument last night between Trevor Lee and his parents, and that this shooting culminated from that argument. This does appear to be an isolated incident. and we have no further threat to our community at this time. Again, this is a very active scene. Our detectives are working diligently to try to figure all of this out. We do want to extend our deepest sympathies to the family, the friends, and all of those who are affected by this heartbreaking incident. And we would like to ask anybody in the community that may have some information regarding Trevor Lee or his parents to please reach out to us at 904-264-6512. And with that, I will take any questions.
Did the teen have any prior mental health history? Anything like, visiting the guidance office at school, or any therapy, any Baker Acts?
That we're looking into that. That's going to be part of the investigation. You think about this just happened at midnight last night, just after midnight, and we're here early Monday morning. So all of that is going to be looked at. His history at school, any previous contacts, we don't know right now, but that'll be part of the investigative process.
Just going by names alone, biological dad, do we have a relation with the woman?
I believe these are both his biological parents at this time. I know the father is for sure.
Just with different names, I was curious.
Correct.
Was it the parents' gun or was it the kid's gun?
At this time, we believe it's going to be the parents' gun, but we're still, again, looking into that through, talking to him, finding out where the gun was, how he got a hold of the gun, how did he know the gun was there. The gun was recovered at the scene. He left the gun at the scene when he walked to the church to call 911.
Were they both shot just one single time, and if so, where?
That I do not know. Again, part of the investigative process.
And additionally, was there anyone else in the home, maybe a sibling who was obviously not harmed but was just in the home?
At this time, it appears that only Trevor and his parents were in the home when this incident occurred.
Anyone else?
Anything else? Again, appreciate you guys coming out, and just, again, if any citizens have any information about Trevor Lee, please give us a call, 904-264-6512, or send us a Safe Watch tip. Thank you.
Real quick, do you know if you've had any incidents at the home? Have you guys ever had to respond to the home?
I don't know the answer to that yet. That's going to be part of the investigative process. Listen, we're still early, very early in this. Detectives, our crime scene technicians are still on scene. This is very, very early in this. Thank you.
Details about a Clay County teen accused of killing their parents in their Middleburg home. And tonight, the 14-year-old's best friend is speaking with News 4 Jax. Family member also shared this photo of David Lee and Brandy Smith with us.
Their 14-year-old son, Trevor Lee, is now charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. Their home sits near Silver Point and County Road 220. News 4 Jax reporter Alicia Hatcher went to the neighborhood where it happened and spoke with the teen's friend.
One of Trevor's closest friends, Kyrie Beeman, met us right outside of the Lee family home. He says he's known Trevor since elementary school and he just saw him Friday. He also says he spoke with him over the phone around 12:30 this morning, and the conversation they had, he'll never forget.
He told me that he loved me, and he told me that he was just calling to tell me goodnight.
The best friend of a teen now accused of murder replays the last conversation they had before learning the shocking news. Crime scene tape lined a Middleburg neighborhood Monday morning after a chilling 911 call from a 14-year-old boy.
Our 911 communications center received a call from a young man who stated he had just killed his parents. He stated that deputies could find his parents at the house and that he had walked just over a mile away to a church.
Deputies responded and arrested 14-year-old Trevor Lee. When deputies got to the home, they found David Lee and Brandy Smith shot and killed inside.
Preliminary investigation, and we're still very early in this investigation. It appears that there was some sort of domestic argument last night between Trevor Lee and his parents, and that this shooting culminated from that argument.
When we arrived on scene, a family member was there but declined to speak. But one person did open up, someone who didn't just know the family, he considered them his own.
They were probably the best or one of the best families I knew. They were funny. and they treated me very well. They told me all the time that they loved me like a son, and they treated me as such.
Kyrie says it's still hard to believe, but he hopes people remember Trevor for more than just what happened.
He's not a bad person just because he made one bad decision. He's done so much for everyone I know, and I don't want him just to be known as a killer or a murderer, and that he was a great kid, a great son.
Coming up on News4Jax at 6, we'll share the moment Kyrie says he will always cherish that he shared with the Lee family. For now, reporting, Alicia Hatcher, Channel 4, the local station.
Tonight, detectives on Long Island need your help to track down a person wanted in a grisly murder that took place last March. This is a look at the person they are trying to find. Her name is Marjorie Quarry, but she goes by other names and has been known to frequently change her appearance. Eyewitness News reporter Shantae Lance has the latest on the investigation.
491 days, and the pain is still the same.
There's not a day go by I don't think about my nephew and cry about my nephew.
Speaking over the phone, the aunt and sister of 36-year-old Conrad Gowan recalls the day on March 4th, 2024, inside his home on Herrick's Lane in Jamesport when he was killed.
When she stabbed my nephew, it was just a shock to everyone.
A Crime Stoppers alert is now out for this woman, 53-year-old Marjorie Quarry. Suffolk County police say she entered Gowan's ground floor apartment before stabbing him in the neck in a violent rage of passion.
We believe that Quarry learned that day that she was not Gowan's only girlfriend. She had driven out from Queens that day to see him, driven from Queens to Jamesport. There was another girl at his apartment. She was turned away. She came back, a fight ensued, and she stabbed him in the neck.
Homicide Detective Lieutenant Kevin Byer says Quarry also goes by the name Nicola Watson and Nikki. A warrant for second-degree murder has been issued for her arrest.
She has family and prior addresses in St. Albans, Hollis, and Jamaica, Queens.
Police believe Quarry, who's Jamaican, is working as a home health aide, likely for cash, moving around basement apartments in South Queens. Like Quarry, Conrad was working as a home health aide. His sister and aunt says he dreamed of becoming a nurse.
Always working. And his dream was to come to America to fulfill the American dream, to become a registered nurse and send for his mom.
That dream, now a nightmare, as police release multiple photos of Quarry, including her driver's license and mugshot. Investigators say she has prior arrests for grand larceny and drug sales. Conrad Gowan's family has a strong message for his alleged killer.
Turn yourself in. Turn yourself in. So we can all have a peace of mind. We have sleepless night.
Aside from his sister, aunt, and mother, Conrad Gowan leaves behind his 10-year-old daughter. Detectives are asking anyone with information on Quarry's whereabouts to call Crime Stoppers or Suffolk County Police. Outside of Suffolk Police Headquarters, Shantae Lands, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
New for you here at noon. A Miami Gardens mother of 9 is in jail this noon, accused of child neglect.
Yeah, police say several children were covered in filth and garbage covered parts of the home when officers arrived.
Let's get to Marissa Bag, who's live for us with this developing story. Marissa, how did officers know something wasn't right here?
Well, according to the arrest report, Shelley, it looks like it was pretty obvious. We're here on Northwest 37th Avenue and about 177th Street in Miami Gardens. Police were initially called out here because of reports of a fight, but police tell us that as soon as they arrived at the house in question, they could tell something was wrong. They said that they could smell a foul odor and that it seemed pretty clear that the children had not been well cared for. And in the end, their mother was arrested. Police have identified her as 30-year-old Ashley Jennings. She went before a judge a short time ago on a total of 9 counts of child neglect, 1 for each of her children. Miami Gardens police say that the children, who are between the ages of 1 and 10, appeared to be unbathed and covered in filth. The arrest report says that there was feces and roaches on the floor of the kitchen and that throughout the rest of the house was really in deplorable conditions, including garbage on the bedroom floors and flowing out of the closets. In court, Jennings' attorney asked the judge to be lenient with a bond.
The allegations are fairly severe, so I have some hesitation in doing this. But again, the rationale behind a bond is not to punish; it is to secure a person's attendance and to protect people from harm.
And police did also write in the report that there didn't appear to be any edible food in the fridge when they checked in on that. At this hour, Jennings does remain in jail on a $22,000 bond. We are live here in Miami Gardens. Marissa Bagg, NBC6 News.
My mom was still breathing. Like that night, I was holding her. She was still breathing and like still fighting for her life.
Tonight, she says her mother is fighting for her life. Right now, after a moment that changed their lives forever, only on 4 tonight, we're hearing from the family of this woman, Taisha McDowell, shot on the city's north side. That woman was the victim in a shooting we first brought to you as breaking news last night at 10. And new tonight, our Jordan Burrell is hearing from the family pleading, Jordan, for justice to be served.
Cameron, Taisha McDowell's daughter, says she wants to set some things straight. Her mother is not dead, contrary to reports, and she was an innocent bystander. She says they were both simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's left her praying for her mom to wake up on her 26th birthday.
I'm hoping that things are different and that you just move, wake up, blink, anything, because we need you. We do.
A woman's message to her mother after chaos erupted late Thursday night. Bullets flew outside a gas station at Goodfellow in Natural Bridge, where Natasha McDowell says multiple people opened fire.
I'm assuming it was an altercation that happened before we got there, and there was some stuff going on, so he made a comment about going to get his gun. I heard him, he was standing behind me. He made a comment about going to get his gun. He went outside and he came back in the store for a second to like tell his friends, and then he just started shooting.
McDowell says she dropped to the ground inside the gas station, but says people from across the intersection began firing back. Her mom and a friend sat in the car outside.
Next thing you know, my friend runs in the store, she crying, and I'm like, I know something had to happen, so I run outside and my mom's car is rolling down the street. So with that, I just was hysterical.
Her mother, 47-year-old Taisha McDowell, a mother of 2 and grandmother of 1, was shot in the head. Her car riddled with bullets.
It's kind of very, very hard on me today, being that today is the day that she gave me life, and today is the day that her life was ended.
While Natasha says her mother is still breathing, she tells me doctors say there's nothing they can do. Her mother has no brain activity and is on a breathing machine, and that's what's keeping her alive. This all happening on her 26th birthday.
My mom being a victim of gun violence is insane, and she is never around anything like this. Just so happening to be at the wrong place at the wrong time caused the most misfortunate of my whole life.
Adding to the heartbreak, the family says police initially said Thursday night Taisha was dead, but didn't correct themselves until almost 12 hours later.
Shooting, female patient, Natural Bridge and Goodfellow at the Conoco.
According to police, they've responded to around 250 calls for service at or near Goodfellow and Natural Bridge since January 2024. While not all were linked directly to the gas station, Natasha believes it's a magnet for violence.
All these killings, and y'all can't get guns off the streets and the stores, and it's just a lot of everything. A lot of these places need to be shut down, everything. It's been so many lives taken at that gas station. I'm not understanding why they still have a spot on the land.
He got shot when I was frisked out, so I get up, tried to see what's going on.
Gunfire turns a party in Los Angeles into the scene of a mass shooting with 2 people killed and 6 others wounded. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. That shooting happened early this morning in downtown L.A. Police so far have not announced any arrests, and they say it's possible there was more than one shooter involved here. Several people in that crowd at the party started posting video to the Citizen app right after the shots were fired. Witnesses say they were all celebrating a birthday. We will have more on that story coming up in just a moment here. We're going to move on to another story we continue following. Tonight, the manhunt goes on for the suspect in a mass shooting in Montana. Police say Michael Brown walked into a bar outside of Butte and killed 4 people back on Friday. Tonight, Fox's Oliviana Calmes is in the small community of Anaconda, where investigators are hoping the release of new photos may help lead to the arrest of the suspected gunman.
Right, we still don't have all the answers why this man, who we believe knew the people in the bar pretty well, would go in and shoot, and whether the mental health issues his family has told us about affected all of this. But the law enforcement response has not let up. They did release a couple of photos. This one is a mugshot of him. Another one is a screen grab of surveillance footage taken right after the shooting. He looked like he was barefoot and wearing minimal clothing. The AG in the latest update named the victims killed as well. David Bailey, a customer there, Nancy Kelly, who was bartending, Tony Palm and David Leach, also customers. More than 200 officers are searching the mountains in this area, and they now believe Brown ditched the car he escaped in, stole a different one that had camping gear, shoes, and clothes in it, meaning he could be wearing clothes now. The people here, though, are anxious for police to find him.
It's just weird that they still haven't caught him, and even last night I was scared to go to sleep because I didn't know if he was, because you never know where he's gonna go next.
Definitely caught everybody off guard, and you don't want to keep your guard down.
In the meantime, friends and family have dropped off flowers outside the bar. I met up with one woman who goes there often, and she says she knows the victim, she knows his family, and she's praying for everyone involved.
We're all in shock for something that happened here that shouldn't have happened. I mean, this was always a place to come and find comfort, and there were celebrations of life here, and it's just heartbreaking.
The police chief here just gave another update saying this is ongoing. The reward is $7,500 for any information leading to Michael Brown's arrest. And in this area, there's a lot of hunting and old mines, a lot of places they're having to search on this mountainous terrain. In Anaconda, Montana, Oliviana Kelmes, Fox News.
Tonight, we are learning more about the Las Vegas man who's accused of killing 4 people and himself in New York City. According to ESPN, Shane Tamura repeatedly sought medical help for headaches before last week's mass shooting. The headaches reportedly began when he started playing high school football and continued into adulthood. Investigators believe Tamura was targeting the NFL when he started shooting in the lobby of an office building that houses the league's headquarters. Authorities say he left a note behind blaming the NFL for his mental health problems. We turn now to the wildfires keeping hundreds of firefighters busy all across the West tonight. The region's biggest fires are in Arizona, Alaska, and California. The Gifford Fire along California's central coast is the newest of those fires. This one started on Saturday, and already it's burned more than 65,000 acres in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. One person was hospitalized with burn injuries after getting out of his vehicle and being overrun by flames. 2 contract employees assisting firefighters were also injured when their all-terrain vehicle overturned. Crews do have that fire about 3% contained tonight, and the cause is being investigated. Fire crews across the San Francisco Bay Area are preparing for a warm, dry week ahead. East Bay Regional Parks crews used heavy machinery earlier today to turn giant branches into wood chips, all in an effort to reduce potential fire fuels in the hills above Oakland. Firefighters say even after a relatively cool summer so far, there is still a high risk of fire, and people should be extra careful not to cause sparks from dragging chains, yard equipment, barbecues, campfires, and cigarettes.
Always making sure they have their go bag and their evacuation kits ready, making sure they have a comms plan, a communication plan with their children and the rest of their family for where they might need to meet up.
Firefighters also recommend people download apps like Genesis and Watch Duty that allow you to sign up for local fire alerts. In Washington state, Puget Sound Energy is warning about possible rolling blackouts across 9 different counties because of concerns about wildfires. Fire scientists say the risk is higher as fires are now spreading in places that historically have not had to deal with them. That includes the western slopes of the Cascades. Researchers say between 60% and 70% of wildfires are human-caused, including from electrical infrastructure. A combination of strong winds and low humidity could lead to those power shutoffs.
Those situations, our goal would be to shut power off in those highest risk areas in order to avoid the ignition source.
Puget Sound Energy says it's aiming to give customers a 48-hour warning before shutting off the power. For more, let's bring in KTVU's chief meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking the weather conditions that firefighters will be facing this week. Hey, Mark.
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, some parts of the West Coast will be heating up. In fact, this particular forecast model shows kind of lumps everything together, the temperature, the wind, the relative humidity. So where you have some coverage, that's where you have an increase in the fire danger. This is Tuesday morning, not so bad, but then into the afternoon hours, you can see some more coverage out there. Really focused down in central and southern California, parts of Arizona, Utah, and southern Nevada. So definitely a fire danger. It's that time of year, nothing unusual. We watch it over the next few days with that heat moving in. And speaking of heat, take a look at the Phoenix area. They have an extreme heat warning for most of the week. The forecast this week, 112 to 116 degrees. So that extreme heat warning is in place right now through Friday. So today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's kind of a long duration event. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on those temperatures showing up. This was the scene today in Phoenix, 112 degrees. And once again, it could be a bit warmer over the coming days. In the San Francisco Bay Area, lots of sunshine out toward the Golden Gate Bridge. San Francisco in the mid 60s. And then up in the Seattle area, this camera picking up on some cloud cover. And they could be talking about some rain moving in over the coming days as we do move into Wednesday and Thursday. But a high today of 71. Here's a look at the satellite and the radar where you can see some clouds approaching Seattle, also parts of Portland, and then a band of high clouds moving into central and southern California and into Nevada. Current numbers out there right now, it is 98 degrees in Las Vegas, Reno, Nevada checking in 81. And then 72 in Portland, Oregon. Here's a plan for tomorrow. We'll have some clouds up in Seattle, at least partly cloudy skies. More sunshine for the Bay Area after some patchy morning fog. We talked about that dangerous heat out toward Phoenix, and some wildfire smoke possibly could be impacting the Denver air quality for tomorrow. Here is the Fox weather model showing you this. The clouds at least moving into parts of the Pacific Northwest, and not too much change as you can see into it tomorrow morning. And then we're tracking this rain band here that could generate some rainfall for Seattle. That would be especially as we do move into Wednesday. So you can see those rain chances going up Wednesday and possibly into Thursday up there. For San Francisco, fog in the morning, becoming partly sunny. A bunch of 80s down towards Southern California. It's even getting hot out toward Denver. Upper 90s, close to 100 degrees for tomorrow. And we will continue to track that to dangerous heat for Phoenix, 113, 116, possibly 117. That's just way too extreme. And that's in their forecast over the coming days. And with that heat building in, fire dangers we talked about in the beginning, we'll be watching that as well all week long.
Yeah, I know you'll keep tracking it. Okay, Mark, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, some small business owners say banned social media accounts are hurting their bottom line. Tonight, a Las Vegas woman shares what she went through when Instagram disabled her account. Plus, an injured child from Gaza who lost both of her legs during the ongoing conflict is here in the West tonight receiving care. How she was greeted when she arrived and the medical treatment she's getting at a Seattle hospital. The New York Post is headed west. Today, the tabloid's CEO announced plans to publish a West Coast edition based in Los Angeles. This will be called the California Post. The LA staff will put out a daily paper focusing on California news, sports, entertainment, and politics. The first issue of the California Post will be hitting newsstands early next year. Well, it doesn't look like convicted killer Eric Menendez will be getting a furlough from prison as he recovers from surgeries to treat kidney stones. His daughter shared on social media that he's now back in prison and preparing for his upcoming parole hearing. His attorney hoped that California Governor Gavin Newsom would grant Menendez a furlough until the August 22nd hearing. TMZ's Charles Ladaboudiere says Governor Newsom has not committed to that request for a furlough.
Back in prison for a few more weeks at the very least, and then the big decision is going to come later this month when the parole board gives the governor their findings as far as whether or not the brothers have been rehabilitated, and their recommendation as to whether or not they should be allowed out on parole.
Eric and his brother Lyle have been in prison for decades. They admit they killed their parents in 1989 after years of abuse. They were initially sentenced to life without parole. In May, though, a judge reduced that sentence to 50 years to life, making them eligible for parole, and that makes it possible for the brothers to go before a parole board later on this month. A 12-year-old from Gaza has arrived in Seattle for medical treatment after losing both legs in an airstrike. She's part of the largest evacuation of wounded Palestinian children to the U.S. since the start of Israel's current war with Hamas. Tonight, Fox 13's John Hopperstad was at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, where she got a warm welcome.
We may actually be seeing more kids from Gaza coming through here at a busy SeaTac airport to get the medical treatment they need, and that's because experts tell us the healthcare system right now in Gaza is basically non-existent. The only option is to bring these kids to the Northwest and to the United States for that medical treatment. And that's why we did see Siba, her siblings, and her mother come through here last night to a warm welcome. She has been through a lot in her young life. She lost her father in the war, then lost her legs in an airstrike while she was sheltering at a school. But here in Seattle, she will receive world-class medical care and new prosthetics through the nonprofit group Heal Palestine, which is trying to bring relief and aid to Palestinian children and their families.
The extensive needs that children have in Gaza, not only medical needs like in the cases of amputees, but mental health needs. They've all experienced trauma. So it means a lot that we can do what we can, even if we're just scratching the surface with one individual. Everything makes a difference, and so we can't be overwhelmed by the numbers. We have to focus on anything we can do for every individual.
Siba still dreams of walking again, playing with her friends, and really living a normal life. And she's part of a group of 11 kids who have been evacuated out of Gaza and brought here to the United States for medical treatment. Here in SeaTac, John Opperstead, Fox 13 News.
The Trump administration is taking a new step to tighten visa requirements. The State Department says it's planning to require some applicants for business and tourist visas to post a bond of up to $15,000 in order to enter the U.S. Under a proposed pilot program, the State Department will determine which countries have the highest rates of people overstaying their visas, and applicants from those countries would be required to post a bond. The new program is expected to take effect on August 20th. California Governor Gavin Newsom and State Attorney General Rob Bonta are touting the state's progress in lawsuits filed against the Trump administration. The legislature has allocated $25 million for the state's legal efforts. And today, Attorney General Bonta released a report on the state's DOJ's progress. In just over 6 months, California has filed 37 lawsuits against the Trump administration. Bonta says so far the state has succeeded in 17 of 19 cases.
In just the first 6 months, California DOJ's actions have restored, protected, and defended over $168 billion in federal funding that our state, that our communities, that our families rely on.
None of us imagined in the process of putting together a special session that just in 7 or so months, 37 lawsuits would be filed. None of us are surprised that so many of them have been successful. Nothing about what Trump is doing should come as a surprise.
So far, the DOJ has used $5 million out of that $25 million allocated by the legislature for legal efforts. An Arizona woman who helped North Korea secure stolen identities of U.S. citizens is facing 102 months in prison. Fox 10's Taylor Wirtz spoke with Phoenix's FBI special agent in charge about her multi-million-dollar scheme.
You never know what's going on behind closed doors, even in a neighborhood as normal looking as this one in Litchfield Park.
We looked up at the crime statistics and saw that it was actually a quiet neighborhood.
With a neighbor as unassuming as 50-year-old Christina Chapman.
So I'm in the car, about to go.
But the FBI says Chapman helped bring in more than $17 million for herself and North Korea, conspiring in a scheme to defraud the U.S. and its agencies.
This is a different type of fraud, as this is an income stream going back to the North Korean regime to fund their nuclear weapons program, which makes this that national security matter.
Between October 2020 and 2023, Chapman is said to have helped North Korean IT workers secure stolen identities of U.S. citizens and residents. using those to get them remote jobs with U.S. companies, even hosting a laptop farm in her home where she received and hosted the company's computers so the employees she was helping would appear to be in Arizona.
The companies thought they were hiring Americans. When they are looking at their logs and seeing the IP addresses coming back to somewhere in the U.S., the systems say that is right.
More than 90 laptops were seized from Chapman's home. The scheme impacted more than 300 U.S. companies, ranging from a television network to an aerospace and defense manufacturer, and compromised more than 60 identities of American citizens.
A lady in Litchfield Park, Arizona, could be running a laptop farm on behalf of the North Korean government. I think that is the first shocking, but it also shows that this can happen anywhere in the U.S.
And that was Fox 10's Taylor Wirtz reporting tonight. Along with serving 102 months in prison, Chapman must also forfeit more than $284,000 that was supposed to be paid to the North Koreans, and also pay a judgment of nearly $177,000. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, complaints about Instagram banning accounts. And these complaints are growing tonight. Up next, we'll explain why some people say this is getting in the way of their business. Getting back now to that mass shooting in Los Angeles we told you about at the top of the show. Police are searching for suspects tonight after 2 people were killed and 6 others were wounded at a party. Fox 11's Mario Ramirez spoke with people at that party and police.
2 of the 8 gunshot victims died from their injuries. One of them here on the scene. That victim's body remains covered by that white tent down the street. Gunfire erupting into a crowd here after a warehouse party was shut down by the LAPD. Gunfire erupting near Paloma and 14th Place around 1 a.m. as officers were on an unrelated nearby call.
Bad news. She called me, tell me her son, tell her my son got shot.
This man learning his 29-year-old son, Gregory DeRiso, was among the victims. A music producer and father of 3 young children under 5, attending an after-hours warehouse party.
She just told me he got shot, and I was freaked out. So I get up, tried to see what's going on.
This shot showing the crowds gathered in the street.
They say there was a party right there. 2 girls was fighting and she caught somebody. Somebody came with a red car and started shooting the people.
LAPD investigators say patrolling officers observed an armed suspect run into the warehouse party earlier around 11 p.m. when the party was shut down and the suspect was arrested. But as people were still gathered, shots rang out into that crowd about 2 hours later.
We do have our detectives here present who are still need to canvass the area, speak to witnesses, try to locate any additional evidence of what exactly occurred.
Police say a 52-year-old woman who self-transported to the hospital later died. 6 others rushed from the scene, with family members gathering at the nearby Dignity Medical Center, desperate for answers. 2 of the surviving victims were taken to the hospital in critical condition. The motive behind the shooting remains unclear, and investigators say they're now looking into whether or not this was gang-related. In downtown LA, I'm Mario Ramirez, Fox 11 News.
And so far, authorities have not given any updates on the conditions of the 6 people who survived that shooting in downtown LA. We have an update tonight on the man suspected of shooting the driver, accused of intentionally plowing his car into a crowd of people right outside of an East Hollywood nightclub last month. Police arrested 28-year-old Efren Villalobos on Sunday in Redondo Beach, south of LA. He was booked on suspicion of attempted murder for that July 19th shooting. Police have not shared if Villalobos knew the driver, 29-year-old Fernando Ramirez, or what the motive may have been for Ramirez, who has since been charged with 37 felony counts of attempted murder and 37 felony counts of assault with a deadly weapon for that crash. Well, some business owners say banned social media accounts are getting in the way of their business. Fox 5's Molly McBride spoke with one of them.
After a layoff and months of an unsuccessful job search, Leslie Spindler says she decided to chase her dream and launch her own company, Alinea.
We as a family, they supported me and we decided to go for it.
She says they invested all they had into the company. She'd even traveled to South America to source her own products.
So these are all handmade by indigenous families in the Andes Mountains in Ecuador.
Weeks before launch, Spindler says an email from Instagram put her dream on pause. Her 16-year-old daughter's Instagram account suspended for not following the app's community standards on child exploitation, abuse, and nudity. Spindler says immediately every account connected to her daughters was disabled too, including her business account.
We just felt trapped, and not just for the business, but having such an accusation on a family member.
She says they submitted an appeal to Meta, Instagram's owner, and waited. Weeks passing with no way to advertise their newly launched products.
After this, the account was taken down, so we couldn't announce our launch.
Spindler isn't the only small business owner I spoke with whose account was disabled. I emailed Meta a list of those usernames. They said some of the usernames I sent were removed correctly for breaking their rules, but they also restored accounts that were removed in error, like Spindler and her daughter's account. They tell me they got access back within hours of that email.
We were celebrating, we were so excited.
Back into her account, it's time for Spindler to plan how to promote Alinea online, all the while keeping others in mind who still don't have access. An online petition claiming Meta's artificial intelligence moderation system is disabling thousands of accounts without cause has garnered more than 34,000 signatures and counting. In a statement, a Meta spokesperson says, "We take action on accounts that violate our policies and give people the chance to appeal if they think we made a mistake."
That was Fox 5's Molly McBride reporting tonight. If your Meta account is disabled or restricted, you will get a message when you try to log into your account. That message will include instructions on how to appeal and include a deadline. If you do not appeal within the specified time, you will not be able to request a review. Finally tonight, a special camp in Southern California is helping to bridge a generation gap. Groups of 8 to 14-year-old girls are learning valuable skills from their elders at this camp in Fullerton in Orange County. They're taking part in an intergenerational summer camp. The program pairs campers with older people to learn how to sew, embroider, cook, make jewelry, and craft cards. The camp is run by Olive Community Services, a nonprofit aimed at promoting the health and well-being of seniors. And that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. Have a great night.